Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video we're taking a look at the brand new Hobby Plus Spec SCT. Now a lot of you may be looking at this and thinking you have seen this truck before in the form of the Maverick Microbe Short Course, and you would be right in saying so. Well, that's no coincidence. Hobby Plus do actually make the trucks, however they license out the design to Maverick, and Maverick is a side shoot of HPI. In this video not only will we be doing a little comparison to see if there are any differences between the Hobby Plus and the Maverick, but we're also doing a few upgrades to see if we can make this truck handle even better. Now before we go any further, don't forget, if you enjoy this content, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will also leave a link down in the description to where you can get 10% off all your orders from the Hobby Plus website. Now for those of you that may not have seen my review on the Maverick Microbe SC, let's go over quickly a few of the things that you can expect from the Hobby Plus Spec SCT. It's a two-wheel drive truck and it comes pre-fitted with a LiPo battery. It comes in two different options, a brushed and a brushless. We have gone for the brushless option, and then it comes in a range of colours as well. Now, as I said, we went for the brushless option, and for the small amount extra it costs, I think it's well worth it. It comes pre-fitted with a Hobbywing at 1626 8000 kV sensorless motor and a Hobbywing Mini28 Brushless ESC. Now the Spec SCT does share the same platform as the Spec B, and if we turn it over there, you will see a lot of the similarities. The main difference being that the Spec SCT has a 15mm longer wheelbase. Now you may have noticed the stickers have been changed on the yellow truck, and that is apparently because my son has now taken claim to it. However, other than the colour, the two trucks do share exactly the same bodies. Now taking a look at the truck in a little more detail, to remove the body we just need to pop off the little clips on the rear. We then lift the back of the body up, slide it forwards, and there you go, you can see the clip in the front. Now with the bodies removed, you can see it's almost identical, other than the colour of a few of the parts. And the only real difference being when you turn them over, you can see that the Hobby Plus has a slightly different chassis, slightly wider up front, giving you a little more space inside, which could be handy for running a larger LiPo, or if you're looking at repositioning some of the radio gear. And when we were testing the Maverick, it did suffer from quite a lot of grip roll, which is partly to be expected from this style of truck. However, Hobby Plus have come up with an optional sway bar set, so let's get that fitted up and see if it helps the performance. Okay, so that is the sway bars all fitted up. It was a pretty simple process. Ball studs screwed into the rear arms, and then everything, well, was pretty straightforward and self-explanatory on the rear. I just released the two screws underneath on the chassis. That allowed me to get the sway bar itself into the transmission case. Similar thing on the front. Ball studs go into the arms via the long screws that are provided. Once those are in, I then released off that top screw there to allow the sway bar to go into the front tower, and then everything pretty much just popped together. Now in the back here you can see our 1626 8000 kV brushless motor, and up front our Hobbywing Mini28 Brushless ESC. That is coupled up to the original FlySky 2-in-1 unit. Now what this means is that we can swap out that 2-in-1 unit for our own receiver to work with a third-party transmitter. Now I have to admit that is one of the best features of these trucks. And if you look inside the manual, you can see that we have got a full sealed metal 2-gear differential. Now I've been informed that the shocks on the Spec SCT are a brand new and improved design. They are still an oil-filled coilover shock with an adjustable shock collar, but they feel like some of the smoothest shocks that I've tried on a micro. Taking a little look around the rest of the truck, you can see that we've got our fixed length links. However, we do have some nice little aluminium spacers underneath the ball studs, so that will allow a certain amount of tuning. And for those that are interested in the real details, all four shocks on this SCT are exactly the same length as what comes on the rear of the Spec B. Now to remove the battery, you have two small tabs here either side of the receiver. Those just bend forwards, and then we can lift the receiver up to remove the battery. The battery itself is the standard 350 mAh 2S LiPo. Now as I mentioned, the brushless version comes with the Hobbywing Mini28 Brushless ESC. That means that we are able to change a number of settings via an LED program card. The settings can also be found in the manual. Now I wouldn't go changing the running mode or the low voltage cutoff, but it is well worth having a play with some of the others. Now that's enough talking, let's go take this next door, build a small track and see what difference those sway bars have made to the performance. So here you go, the results after that testing. We had the sway bars fitted to car 1, and not only did we get a higher lap count, we also got a better average and a better fastest lap. Now with that testing done, let's go head to the skate park and see what it's like there. So there you go, that was a quick spin around the skate park, and while it was a lot of fun, it definitely didn't feel as planted as the buggies do. Now let's add that optional gearing and see what speed we can get out of this in a straight line. Okay, so to fit the optional gearing, first off you're going to need to remove the transmission cover. That's just 2 screws holding that on. You may also just want to remove the shock, it just gives you a little more access. Then you're going to pop off that nut on top of the spur gear. That will mean that you can remove the spur gear, and then just use a small screwdriver to prise off the pinion. They're only push fit on. When it comes to putting the pinion back on again, you're going to be wanting to use the largest pinion that they supply. Just make sure you put your finger on the back of the motor there and press it on from the front. Don't just press it on from the front, because it does put an unnecessary amount of pressure on the drive shaft. They are quite tight. You can even ream them out a little if they won't fit on, but it does want to be a nice tight fit. As regards to the spur gear, you do want to use the smallest one that there is in the bag. That will give you your fastest gearing, and then you will just need to mesh the two by adjusting these 2 screws here. Just loosen it off and then set it so that there is just a tiny amount of free movement between the 2 gears, and that means that you've got no unnecessary friction. Once that's done, it's back on with that transmission cover and the shock, and we should be ready to go. A quick test on the bench. There you go, you can see those tyres expanding. We've got some serious speed going on there. It's going to be interesting to see what it is like outside. So I've got the GPS squeezed in under the body there. Let's give this thing a bit of a speed test. There we go, that is the stock gearing. One more run coming back this way. Let's see what, there we go. Okay, so there we have it, 18 miles an hour on the stock gearing. Okay, so I've now got the higher gearing fitted. Let's see what we've got now on the GPS. Here we go then. And then what is that GPS going to tell us? 23. Well, there you go, that optional gearing gave us an extra 5 miles per hour, so not bad at all. However, I've got to be honest, I'm not sure that you really need it. Unless speed running is your thing, then this stock setup with the brushless motor, I think is pretty much fast enough as it is out the box. Now, how's the truck held up after all of that abuse? Well, very well indeed. Now, we did have that issue with the body popping off occasionally on that front clip, but that really isn't too much of an issue, and it's very easy to get back on again. We've got a little bit of road rash from where it tends to roll over outside, but that is all cosmetic. And how did it hold up underneath? Well, again, very well. I was a little concerned at the start that due to that extra size and weight that we might start to see a few breakages. However, I was very much proved wrong, and we didn't have any issues at all. Now, those front and rear bumpers seem to work very well indeed. In testing, we gave them some pretty heavy hits and they soaked them up with ease and offer a really good amount of protection to the rest of the truck. And as for the rest of the truck, well, it is hard to find fault. That suspension is still silky smooth, just as it was when it came out the box. Now earlier in the video we obviously added that sway bar set. Not only did it reduce the amount of body roll and improve our cornering, but it also improved the responsiveness of the steering, so I would 100% recommend that straight out of the box if you place an order. And as for the tyres, well, they offer a huge amount of grip. Concrete, tarmac or carpet, you shouldn't have too many issues. If anything, those front tyres are slightly too aggressive, and you can see that I've started to remove some of the pins from the outside edge. However, we'll go into that in a little more detail in another future video. Now onto the brushless motor and ESC. Now obviously it is only a sensorless motor, and that means that the low-down control isn't quite as good as a sensored system. However, the difference over a brushed motor is quite significant, and for the small amount extra, I think it's really worth it, and it does really pack quite a punch. Now we ended up driving this truck on all sorts of surfaces. However, in the gravel and on the dirt, we did pick up a small amount of debris in the transmission, and things started to get a little crunchy. So I think really where it's at with this and where the fun's going to be had is on the carpet or at your local track. So what are my overall thoughts on the trucks? Well, I have to admit they've been a huge amount of fun and I've really enjoyed driving them. They bring something new and slightly different compared to the buggies that we're used to, and I can see them being very popular in the future. Now we've yet to take it to the club to give it a good test around the track there, so stay tuned for part 2 when we'll be doing a few more modifications and seeing how it does in a race. Now as always, if you've got any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I try and read and reply to every single one. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does mean a huge amount and it helps support the channel and keep it going. But otherwise, have fun out driving wherever you are. I will see you in the next one.
Down the street with your red lips and funky beat, you better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.